Buck was just a little bit flat yesterday. Wasn't as spunky as he normally is. Still performed well during the building searches and stuff, but today is a new day, and just like any training, you have good days and bad days. So not that yesterday was a bad day by any means, but just would like things to be a little bit sharper. So yeah, satisfied with yesterday and looking forward to today.
All right, I'm Jacob Stennett. I'm a law enforcement officer in the state of Kentucky, part of a tactical team. Met Joshua back in 2016 when I had a personal protection dog. Came up here, or I actually came to Iowa, and we did some building searches with that dog. I developed a relationship with Joshua as a friend. 2019, I got onto a tactical team, and they wanted to integrate a dog onto the team. That's when I contacted Joshua, and I got the dog that I have now. This week, we're up here just doing some muzzle work with the dog. He's a 5-year-old now. He's actually a clone of a clone. He's one of Joshua's dogs. We're just up here doing some muzzle work this week.
I'm a reflection of my dog, so thinking about yesterday, I guess I can't fully say that Buck was the only one flat because we are a team. Yeah, today we're going to kill it. We're going to have fun today. We're going to learn, take criticism as we need to, and go from there.
The first run, we had the lights off. The dog was in there. It was a foundational drill that he had done multiple times in his life. He smoked it. He did well. He found the decoy behind all 3 doors fairly quickly. The second run in the lighted hallway, I don't know, he just, for some reason, it didn't click what was going on. Took him a minute to kind of figure things out. I don't know, I kind of racked my brain all night about it, about what happened, what went on. Maybe he just got caught in a glitch there, in a loop, and it just didn't click for him. So we'll run some drills today, and hopefully it got lined out, and maybe he learned something yesterday, and he worked through it last night as well.
Any criticism that Joshua provides, whether it's in a tone of like this nature or of a lot of emotion, at the end of the day, he just wants us to succeed as a team. Leaving the ego at the door, we certainly appreciate that because we are a representation of CTAC or K9 Tactical, the active shooter K9 brand. So any criticism that he provides, we just take it, put it in our memory bank, and we roll from there.
Like they say a lot of times in dog handling, we're on the dummy end of the leash. We're just there holding the leash, letting him go do what he needs to be done. There wasn't really a whole lot for me to be there. There may have been some feeling that he felt from me of disappointment that I could probably let go and just let him do the work. He may have felt that on me whenever he didn't get the guy in the lighted hallway. So I'll have to work on that myself personally, and just not being disappointed in him and putting off that feeling toward him where he feels it, and then he's just like, well, I'm disappointed my handler, now what do I do? Or disappointed my teammate, and it's kind of like quicksand. Well, one thing goes wrong, the harder you fight, the more you sink, So it's recognizing that in myself and just letting it go and letting him do the job and not push that on him.
3 years ago when we became a team, Buck and I, and we went through K9 Tactical, we didn't know anything about the K9 industry, so this was all brand new to us. As we've been a team for 3 years and we've seen the way that other teams operate in and around the United States, as we're from central Iowa, we just like his down-to-earth method, the Morton method, and the method of just bettering yourself and you're gonna better your team. So we're a strong believer of Joshua's philosophy when it comes to that.
I love it, the dogs. I grew up as a child. I've always loved dogs. I've had dogs ever since I was really small. I had German Shepherds, then I went into hunting dogs. I coon hunted there for a long time in high school. Then I went over to herding dogs whenever I was in college. Me and my buddies would team rope. I had a blue heeler. And then now that I'm in the profession that I'm in, I've got a dog that coincides with that profession. And I just love it. Guns and dogs, that's kind of my life, and that's what I love to do.
Everything in dog training is a balance. If you have a dog that is, the more you control it, the more dependent it becomes upon you. So if you're talking a pet, a lot of people usually want an extreme amount of control over their pets. They don't want them to do a list of things more than they want them to actually do things. Then if you're talking the working world, as you saw yesterday with the hallway work, you need the dogs to be independent. So if you have, say, 1 out of 100 in terms of control, and you want to get it as much as possible, it's like the dog is not going to want to venture out. It's not going to want to work independently. It's going to be so dependent on you that you're not really going to have an effective partner.
What do you think?
You pretty much take away the dog's autonomy if you put so much control on it that it turns into a robot. And you don't want a robot. You want a dog that's going to be able to go out there and handle a situation. And yeah, a lot of times people will say that dogs don't make the right decisions, but I believe that dogs do make the right decisions a lot of times. Especially if you send him out there to go find the bad guy and he's like, okay, there he is, I found him, now I'm going to bite him. All right? So if you put too much control on him, you take his autonomy away from him and he can't work. So
we have expectations. Everybody has expectations. So when you're talking handlers, this is what I expect the dog to do. So what they're really expecting the dog to do is to mind read at the end of the day. And it's like, and for them, it's if they don't do exactly what they wanted, it's a mission failure for them.
You have an expectation, which is stemmed from a belief, stemmed from conditioning, stemmed from past experiences. And those expectations are not met, so it's resistance to what is.
You gotta say something though. Because what is happening now is I'm asking you to contribute to the documentary, and you already have resistance. So that's what this is by definition.
Conflict equals resistance to what is. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, and that's just me being genuine, not trying to pull anything out of my ass. That's just, it is what it is.
there's sometimes like want him to go back over what he just said there on camera, because like I have to dissect what he says a lot of times because I'm trying to fully understand what he's getting at and not reading, but trying to understand each word and what he is meaning with each word, because words mean things. So we have to decide which, and words can mean multiple things. So you have to be kind of careful what you do say. So whenever he says something, I'm like, sometimes I'm just kind of like, hang on a second. And I have to go back through it and try to dissect every bit of it. And sometimes, like, we talk on the phone and we'll spend an entire 30 minutes on one sentence so that I understand exactly what he is trying to get at. So hopefully he goes back over what he just said, because it kind of went over my head there a little bit.
And each word has a meaning to each person. Each person, or you can say each world, which is has a perspective and a perception and a meaning of each word. So whatever it is that is said means something different to me, means something. But when you speak truth, it's deeper than words. It's below words. And the closer you are to truth, the closer you are to what is. It is what is, but that's the point. So it's when you get to that point of communication well, I resonate with that, but I don't understand that. It's like, well, good. We're pointing in the right direction. We're going in the right direction. So we'll dive into it.
Good.
We'll dive into it.
All right.
So yesterday before I left, I just wrote down control comes with a price. I wrote down conflict, resistance to what is, confusion, suit, muzzle, action. And maybe, I'm going at this like, hey, what's the solution? What is it? You have that understanding to where I'm along for the ride with myself. Just have that understanding. I don't know what the answer is. I can't go home and say, okay, I'm going to go, think about it, and then I'll get back to you. I'm going to tell you, and then we get here, and I'll say, here's this dust, which I do have SeaTac dust, by the way, and which I do need to sell that, and then say, okay, your dog is good, and life is great.
Right.
It's like when we talk about it in a way of how it actually is, without making excuses, okay, without getting into the egoic structure of failure and reputation. So allowing for that to unfold, and we talk about it, and then the solution just kind of comes into play. Okay. But I also, as a trainer and as an individual, separated literally in this character from you and you and you, that it does come up to make a point there that there at some point there is a choice between each handler. Are you going to continue with the habits and the process, even though there's some things that got bubbled up and things got exposed that has everything to do with training, and I'm going to put the mirror in front of me and take responsibility for some things, but also too, as a handler, put the mirror in front of me and take responsibility for some things on a personal level and on a working level, and that these subtle changes are applied. That doesn't happen here. What this here, it just exposed things, and then in turn we work on them, and as they come up, and this is what we're really gonna talk about. Dissecting it with the way that we did more last night, and after listening to it now, Dylan, how I kind of started the conversation. Where do you see yourself in with the dog, or where do you see the dog? Where do you see the dog in control, conflict, or confusion? We'll just stay with this theme.
First, what you said about the knowledge and then like discovering it, that really resonated with me, because I think a lot of the knowledge is stored when it comes to like a personal and professional level. There is a lot of knowledge that is taken in, but discovering it itself is one thing in its own. Like, things that came up like in the sweat lodge, stuff like that, those are knowledge. It's all there, but it's the fact of like discovering it and applying it.
So out of those three, yesterday, you're picking control. The control is the kind of where that loop is at. The disconnect is stemmed from. It's a good word. Stemmed. Even though it may apply, all of it may apply, but remember, we're not trying to cut away at branches. We're trying to go to the root. Okay. So.
Yeah, I think out of those three, that's what hits for me.
Dude.
Conflict, 100% conflict. Just like what you said earlier, a few minutes ago when you were talking about who I am. Yes, I'm a very dominant person, very dominant personality. That's just the way I am, the way I grew up. Just who I became over my life. It's who Jake became. Mm-hmm. All right. And then you've got a dog that he also has a dominant personality. And he's like, hey, he's not I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to nuke everybody that's in the, he's not a street sweeper that's just going to bite back up and everything like that. But he has his ways of doing things as well. And I'm like, no, do it my way. And he's like, no, I'm going to do it my way. So in the end, we have conflict and we're butting heads against each other when I need to accept the fact that, hey, he is not going to think through things logically like I do. And he's not going to see things the way that I see things. I'm not going to see things the way that he sees things, but I need to get more on the level of seeing things the way that he sees things so that I can relate to him easier and better and not create that conflict between us.
Okay. And so, how does that happen? And this goes to both of you, but go ahead.
Getting out of my... What's a good way of saying this? Getting out of my own way. Stop trying to make it my way. Always. And just let it... If something irritates me, let it just flow through me. I can't sit there and dwell on it. It's like CQB. We've talked about this multiple times. You go through a door, you make a mistake. Do you let it affect you going through the next door? Because it's like you get into quicksand, and then you just keep making mistakes, and the mistakes keep piling and piling and piling upon each other, where it's like, okay, I went in the room, I made a mistake, I'm getting ready to open up another door, that's a new chapter, I've got to let this shit go. I've got to let it go. I can't sit here and hang on to it. So I go through the next door with an open mind, with a clear mind, and just let the past mistake flow through me till I get to the end. Then I can come back and say, okay, where was my mistake at? What did I do? And then think about it, let it, kind of what you said, get underneath it and see the root of the problem, and then fix it and let it flow. Don't hold on to it. Let it go.
Okay. So like he just said, the knowledge is there, but it needs to be discovered, right? Like that's the way I interpret that.
Yeah. You're kind of analyzing in two different realms, okay? So just to go back with Jake's, even what it is that you said is an action,
Right.
okay? Not to say you have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But have the understanding that it's still an action.
It is an action.
Right?
I understand.
And what happens is like, this is just the brain dissecting the brain.
Right.
Is that it goes like this, and then it creates a void that's right here of what the ego interprets what it is that you're looking for.
Right.
Let's say it's, if I say the word knowing or silence or space, because we just talked about this, that has meaning,
Right.
but it's an action. But what I'm just, be careful, and I know we all have to start from somewhere, but be careful when it's like trying to force yourself to recognize something. That's how good the ego is.
Yeah.
Oh, we want an expectation, we want the dogs to do this, I got you. That's what the ego does. I got a solution for that.
Yeah.
And if it's on the past, it could be all the way deep from the subconscious. It's just, you don't even know why you're doing it. It's conditioning, or feeling that. You don't know why you're feeling that. Okay, this is my point. Just be careful. Because self-inquiry is still an action.
Right.
So I can say self-inquiry, yeah, self-inquiry, got it. It's still an action. Okay, but where is it that we're trying to get to? Like I said yesterday, there is no problem. There's no problem. And this is how we're going to end it, because we can keep going like this all day. But we're going to end it just so that way it reminds me, is no problem. Wow. Whoa. Homeschool. That remind me what was just said?
There is no problem.
There is no problem. But that was going to end it on it. But we were going somewhere else.
The tennis ball.
Nothing girls.
Nothing. Oh yeah, yeah. To where we were doing nothing drills, and after all that settled, what did he want? It was you. To the point where sometimes I was like, man, was he going to smoke you? Like, really into you, and it's an expectation of something. When you do that and you take that away, the expectation of something, what's the dog do? Just hounds you, just like, hey.
Kind of like
Right.
a bully a little.
Theo, take us, and then in the beginning he take his phone away, he's like, he played what if games with me. He's just all over me, attached to me. Ta, 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 ta. And as I'm trying to ta, 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 ta. And that's what we seen with Buck, right? When there was nothing, it was confusion, what do I do, and then it was just, He's nipping at you going, sitting here looking at you going, what do I do, what do I do, what do I do? So we will be doing these nothing drills so that way there's an understanding. We've done them here with you, we've done them here, so your dog might transition a little bit easier, but we're gonna see this because all this it's all subconscious things. Meaning from the dog's perspective, it's all conditioning all the way since they were born. And the stuff that I've done with your dog, not with you, and it's and the stuff that the dog was done not with me, you know, when the dog was born, all the way up to a year and a half, and then to what I've done, right? So a lot what we saw yesterday is more in that level, in this form. It's down here in the trash can. It's down here. Okay, what's up here? Let's talk about that. What's up here in the trash can, in the dog? What's up here? Because right now we need to start tossing shit out, right? Now we talked about ourselves, there you go. How we react to things, what it is that we do, but what is it that now that we can do moving forward in training? What's this trash can for the dog? Because right now we just dove inside. This stuff's still here. We didn't take anything out.
Right.
Okay, so what is it right here? What's in here?
On the dog's behalf.
Yeah, we're in the dog. Which is, by the way, you write this down. You go in the sweat lodge, and I'll write this down on the dog. You go to the sweat lodge, or self-reflect, or however which way you want to do it, that this will pertain to you in a paradoxical way. I don't need to go any further. People who say that that's bullshit looks at themselves as separation, looks at themselves as this and this and this, separate from this, and who are what? Unstable. Anyway, so dog's point of view. What is it that has a little bit of trash? Here, let me help
Possession.
you. Oh, okay.
I think that's part of the top of the trash can.
That to me, that's down here. That's down here.
Oh, that's the deep stuff.
Yeah,
okay,
that's the deep stuff.
I agree.
Okay, kind of like, it has nothing to do with prey drive. Prey drive to me is just a visual stimulation that is an overload. Boop, boop, when we talk about senses, to me that's what that is. So people call it a drive because it's the only thing that the dog has. The dog that could be paired with audio, but at the end of the day, you have touch, all these senses. Prey drive is the movement, a visual overload, if you will, as opposed to just being, let's say, where I look at it as just a visual stimulation, as opposed to the senses all kind of equal into primordial hunt. They're using everything, not just one overload. So anyway, but that's deep.
All right,
That's down here.
All that stuff on top.
Yes.
Would it be? Would you consider the like the control commands that we put on, like sit, heel,
Okay.
kind of stripping that shit away from them again to
Okay.
let them get back to being themselves?
Okay. But I'm just going to. I agree with you.
I'm
but
just
hold on.
asking a question.
No.
I'm just asking.
I agree with you, but I will say. You have a form of control where you don't really need to do anything. You expressed that yesterday,
Yeah.
right? But like I said, that's still a form of control. Is it a form of understanding though? It is dog. I'm looking from the dog. There's a form of understanding through the senses, feeling, touch, habits. Boom. It's that anticipation of the release. So it's a form of control. But like I said, even that style of control, Was it done by force and then it just turned into acceptance, right? But I'm just trying to say how it is that you're saying it, where you're coming from, can you really let go of that? Exactly what you just said, can you apply that to your dog? Even though you really didn't have you didn't apply it at all here. Besides the very first run, you're like Eudorus. You didn't put any conflict into that at all. Mm-hmm. So if that's how you truly are, this doesn't exist for you. Exists more for him, but for you, it's just doing that the whole time. Unless you do smaller things with electric or, that whatever it is that you do, you add more conflict to that I didn't see. But I'm just trying to say is that what I saw out there on control, you didn't have any. You didn't have any. So for you, it's that portion of it is as is. Because if that's how it is that you're saying what control is, you didn't have any.
I'm not following.
Okay. Eric, can you explain that, or are you not following?
Lost on where you're at right now.
Okay, good.
On where we were yesterday is not having control.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll just go with it as that. You don't have any control.
What do
You can't apply more control than what it is that you already have.
When you mean
When we're
what do you-
talking
what do
about
you mean
sitting-
by control, like
Well, I'm going off of just how you explained it. Sitting, bite release, Vooligan. You didn't have any of that. Now, let me back up. I'm saying you had control.
yeah.
The dog wasn't loose. So when you say take away control, meaning take control from this, take it out. When I'm saying, Jake, you didn't have any. Meaning you didn't force control.
Oh, okay.
You didn't go Vooligan. Now, you said Los, and then you were like Vooligan. Okay, that's different. Dog was already doing that. You said Vooligan and Los to make, not literally, don't take this literally,
Yeah.
to make yourself part of the equation.
Right.
When,
Make myself feel good because
when at
He's
the end
already
of
done it.
he already did it.
Yeah.
And you just timing, because we used those words yesterday,
Yeah.
your timing was perfect. The dog anticipated when it was supposed to do certain things.
yeah.
Was it intuitive? No. It was anticipation of something that happens all the time. Rituals, habits, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. That is part of the process. Right?
Right.
Okay. So the way that you are explaining it, remember you are different.
Right.
Every world is different, but every world's the same. Okay. Control when you say that, if there is some nugget that's right here that you do at, which we talked about last night, but when you said it in the sense of how you said it, sit, Vooligan, this, no. But how we talked about it last night, which is, don't do that. Well, why not? Because I don't want you to do that. Well, that's the control we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, not sit.
Not sit,
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we tracking?
I'm
But
tracking.
yeah, you loop it all together, it is control. Okay,
Yeah.
but we've got to make sure with how you presented it.
Right.
Okay.
I'm with you.
That it does apply to him. That's why I'm like, yes, control to him what you said, him, but not you. Okay.
But my control is different than his control.
Yes.
Gotcha. I'm with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's control with you?
I think that, Eudorus and Buck are different, but the same. But I think that I need control with Buck.
Talking about with the dog.
Yep. Control with Buck. If the first year of his life, like you said, we don't know what his life was. And so then when we get him, he has this addiction, like strong addiction for like possession, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
anything that was on the ground, he wanted to possess it, gnaw on it and stuff. So I feel like I needed a certain level of control implemented into his life as far as like sit, heel, something for him to do. So he's not like, you know what I mean? That's what I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You know more than everybody in here that what I'm talking about, but I feel like I need a certain level of control. If I just let him be, I mean, he's gonna eventually find something to probably mess with. I don't know.
Okay. I don't want to go off on that one, on that, okay? Because you're right, but in you knowing me, what is control in this work? Jake, you can answer this. Eric, you can answer this for everybody. What is control in my world? Russian, you can also speak from the backside if you want. What is control in my world?
It's conflict.
Well, yeah, it's conflict, but what is my form of control?
Muzzle.
Muzzle's the bridge. Correct. The muzzle is a bridge, but the problem is there's trainers who put a house on the bridge and doesn't allow the dogs and people and handlers to cross. Trainers put a house on it and make a whole lot of money keeping the people away from the other side. Okay? So, but what is control? What is my form of control? Equals is what? Action. Trust. Oneness. I know I'm saying just, I'm utilizing words, but it's just, control is trust. It's not trust, because once again, this has meaning to everybody. Well, I trust the dog to fail and sit on drugs or bite only the suit and not this. That's not the trust that I'm talking about. I'm just trying to let you guys know that there is a form of control, but it's these things. What tool do we use to get that in obedience, which is control? Hip lead. There you go. Why is the hip lead different than a regular leash?
Because the dog corrects itself and you're not correcting him.
Right? The dog is not distant from you, it's within your space. So therefore, in tune or harmonized or one with, right? Close to, so where the dog has to be you. He has to, without utilizing control, which is voice. Now, there is physical, which is a leash, right? We have to start somewhere. Choke chain, live ring, sound. We have to utilize these things, but the canine, it's coming from itself. It's coming from itself. Timing is important. It's coming from itself. So therefore, the hip lead, you know, it turns into, now I don't have the hip lead because every tool that we use, we have to go away from. It's just we all get comfortable with it all. Gag stick, I mentioned gag stick because you mentioned gag stick, and I don't even use gag. Okay.
But you were like,
If you have to, you have to, right?
Right.
Okay.
safety tool.
Yeah, if you have to, you have to. Right? Those are all tools that ultimately need to fade away. Okay, so the hip lead, you take the hip lead off, you go walk in the field with no hip lead, what does the dog do? Or goes in the building without a hip lead.
It's gonna carry on. It's gonna push out.
Okay. All right, I'm losing you on that, but it's okay. But this is the oneness to in turn create this to get this. This doesn't create this, this is this. But like I said, I have to use words to get you in this area. To in turn have that understanding, its action, all comprised with conditioning, habits, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's what control is. We are taking control and utilizing person, place, or things. which yes, I do here. Yes, you guys do here, but in turn, this is relied on and not let go, meaning a tennis ball. So we're going to get back to that. The tennis ball. The tennis ball needs to go in all areas. Now go back to where it didn't need to go. Remember when we had the conversation of, I want my dog to be obedient when you're going into the building. Mm-hmm. So this is non-work related, but yet work, but it's just how it is that you want the dog to act. And then I was like, well, sometimes, are you in a good mood when you go in there and doesn't matter? Or sometimes you're in a bad, not a bad mood, but you're feeling irritation within you, and you feel that, and it's just like, you can feel irritation, doesn't mean you have to be irritation, doesn't mean you are irritation. That means you don't have to act the irritation out. You could be irritated, but yet still be neutral. You are aware of it. That's when we're talking about, okay.
But that's knowledge. The knowledge is there on that. Like, I can understand that, but it's discovering it.
Right, and you do that by what? I said that one word.
Being aware of it.
Being aware of it. Witnessing it. You witness it. And then from there you start to do things yourself, and you don't need anybody because you already know what it is that you need to do from there. Okay, but that's besides the point. I'm just trying to tell you is that the tennis ball is one of those things that it is attached to you, that is the release of everything, is the focal point, which is tethered to you, associated to you. You are it. So therefore, when it gets put in a sight picture of closed doors, let's go back to yesterday, of closed doors with no the door opening to re-establish a loop, to restart something, and it's just one big circle. This is where I got a fight. We came back out. The door was shut. Wait a minute. I can't get back in there to locate, to see if that thing is there, to go back out here. So then it goes to here, and then it goes like, well, what about this? Whoa, well, what about this? Boom, 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 something here, but what about this? Boom, boom, boom. We added the suit. We did all these things. The dogs could not get out of this loop when normally the door comes open to satisfy the curiosity. When normally what? There's breath that comes out from the decoy. Which is breath is the human or the being?
The human.
Correct. Breath is only a doorway to being. That's all that is. Concentrate on breath. It helps you concentrate on one thing. Breath is just the doorway. So breath is memory of something that's supposed to happen due to conditioned responses by habits. So here now we took away the breath. Now we just have a being that's just there. Meaning breath is a cue. Breath is a doorway into a response. Into what? A bark. A suit is a doorway into a response. Okay? But have this understanding that the dog could not make a choice without the cues. That's at its root. And that is between each handler, yada, yada, yada. Now, what is the real world? Because once again, there is no problem. What is the real world? When you tell me that something that happened on a deployment, the real world, reality. There's somebody that's there, you say something, you get your dog out, and you put the dog in a what?
Post.
Is that a cue?
Yes.
That's a cue. To do what?
Opposition reflex.
That's memory stored in habitual conditioning to do what?
Bite.
Bite. Move forward.
Bark.
See. Visualize using the senses. Now we're talking about the senses, which is the touch, the post, to this, to that. To bite, that has an end state, has an expectation, has the stored memory of this. Right? It's in the physical reality, which is in the mind, which is 3D dimensional. Okay, person, place, things, body. All right, so now we have a cue, right? Was there a cue in this place? Meaning yesterday, of posting? No. A sight picture of there was a person running, leaving, all these stimulations? No. Roger that. So, but in the real world, in that situation, in multiple situations with you, you had cues. Is that a good thing? Hold on. What reality are we working in though? Are we working in the 3D reality here? Is cue a good thing?
No. Well,
Whoa.
depends on what the scenario is.
Okay. Yeah. We're starting to get to where I'm going with. But if we can get a cue to help our dog, would we take it?
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. So, we tracking?
Yes.
Okay.
Because in like I said, in specific scenarios, like that scenario, all good.
Yeah.
Now, if we're doing detection,
Okay.
cues could be bad.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's not get into detection just yet, because you're right. You now, because we're talking about more like bite aspect, because that's what yesterday was.
Okay.
Yes. Does this play over into detection? Absolutely. And this is where dogs are learning on memory of where drugs was on a vehicle. That doesn't do anybody any good. Because once again, we're talking about cues and memory, and why dogs can't make the decision. But the only reason why dogs sit on a car on drugs that was there is because of what? This and this. Expectations, help, cues, this, conditioning. So dog's going to sit on something that was there. But what handlers use is excuses. They bring up science, they bring up this, and yada yada yada, and that's all this reality is, by the way. So we got post. So what else? In reality. What is it? So now, hold on, my bad. So now we're getting in cues. Okay? Cues. Trash can is control and cues. We talked about cues being posting,
Canine announcements.
breath. Breath is a very deep cue, by the way, from the decoy aspect. Announcements is a cue for the dog to do something into a building, which is something that is SOPs from the departments to announcements, yeah. Announcements is a cue. But to me, announcements are for the handlers. A cue like that, hold on, just hear me out. And it gets the canine excited, agreed, but even then it turns into nothing to the dog, but always something to the handler. My point, you come in, you said it, I think, and I think you did too, and you release your dog, you said, Stellan, do you think that dog gave a shit of what you said?
No.
Your dog and your dog. Absolutely not. So over time, in the beginning, the announcements, they say it's for the dog, but you know damn well it's for the officer. And then it becomes nonsense. To the dogs, like, dog's not, it's focusing on the what? The end state. And it's just dude talking. So most of this shit, announcements, commands, however which way, it's just it's nonsense. It's just words. Okay, anyway. Announcements, breath, cues, breath, posting. This is more decoy look. Okay. What else?
Would you think that gear, like being suited up in full tack gear, would be
Even
a
then,
cue?
that becomes semantics.
Right.
It's only real when it's real. Anything before that is just semantics.
I guess the feeling that, because we can sit here and we can run drills in this building all day long.
Hold on, no. Wait. Okay, I'll let you continue. Go ahead.
All right. We run drills here all day long. All right. But you get out on a barricade where guys shot at police officers. We're all in tack gear. You got 12 other dudes around. Everybody's feeling a certain way. You've got all this energy in the air. And he only feels that when he sees the guys in tack gear. He doesn't feel it, like he's not going to feel it on me bringing him in here and running a drill in this building. Versus being out there on a barricade and we're sitting there, you know, guys start shooting, whatever, what have you. You've got, you know, guys saying, hey, launch gas, throw a flashbang, you know. Everybody's ramped up because bullets just flew over their heads, you know. You remember that feeling. And the dog is feeling that. So, but he's not going to feel that in just this stuff. So by putting the attack gear on, or let's just say his ballistic vest versus just his working harness, he feels that.
Yeah.
You know, if I put which one I put on him, or if, you know, we're running like if we're just going to a barricade, it's just a simple barricade, nothing out of the ordinary. Guy just said I ain't coming out, you know, not shot at police officers or nothing like that, and I'm not running lights and sirens. He just lays back there. But the minute I reach over and I hit the blue lights and I hit the whaler, he starts whining. So that's lights and sirens could be a cue. Getting out, me being in tack gear, him hearing me, like every time he hears me pull my rifle case out, he starts whining. Even if I'm at training, like I'm going to a CQT training where I'm not going to have him out, he still hears me open up the back hatch and he hears the slide of my rifle case out of the organizer that I have. He starts whining.
Okay. I'm trying. Okay. So these cues that we have written here are what?
Conditioned responses. Yeah.
Okay. So everything that you said, that everybody, well, once again, I'm not going to say everybody, but pretty much everybody, when I was in military with Astor, I was told all of this.
Yeah.
The reasoning why we have our decoys or bad guys are wearing this. To differentiate, to separate who the true bad guy was.
Right.
It's like, but Astor didn't give a shit. You know,
Right.
Astor attacked the guy. The decoy was dressed in different clothes with a blanket over, right? Everybody else, meaning the graders, this military branch had graders, meaning they had a person in full kit, helmet, looked like what everybody else looked like, but they had a little sticker, right? Said out of play. Hey, I'm out of play. They said there was 2 graders. Each decoy had a grader. Okay, so these graders just stood there and made sure, because once again, even the military, I'm not make fun of, it's all control. We can't allow anything to go outside of flexibility. We have to have a person here to witness this person's response to this, and that's all this shit is control. That's all this is. Okay, so in turn, which is the mind, by the way, that's all that is. It's the interpretation. Okay, I'll make a long story short. Astor came up and attacked 2. In a muzzle, by the way. It wasn't a suit, obviously. Dogs is in a muzzle, right? But who did Astor attack? The grader.
Was that the first person you saw?
That's the first person in the room. Meaning, the dog is not going around deciphering who is wearing what.
I don't think that was that even your
No, that was not.
it's
that
just-
wasn't my point.
He's
Yes, it is.
He's alluding to your whole thing about conditioning, because that's literally what I said the whole time. Is the dog is conditioned just like a child riding by,
Yeah,
you know,
hold up.
McDonald's and being like, "Ooh, I'm excited because of past experiences." I get that.
He made the comment that if I wear my kit, would that make him more focused on what it is that he's supposed to do?
Through conditioning, yeah.
And what I'm trying to
And
tell
so
you
it
is
means it's
that
gonna
it
be
doesn't
on
make
point.
it.
No,
Yeah.
it amps the dog up. It's not saying
No.
the dog's going to be correct.
No, nor does you putting on a ballistic vest versus a non-ballistic vest. That the dog understands what specific task and to do this task with more intent because he's wearing a ballistic harness versus a non-ballistic harness.
You're getting too into the weeds on that.
No,
If
there's
the
no
dog is
weeds.
Flat, if the dog is flat, for example, coming in to a neutral environment, and it's a worker, and he's flat-footed, you're like, oh man, you know, this ain't our-
Hold on, there's no dog that was flat-footed. So
I'm
we
not
should not
saying
be
they- I'm
bringing
not
up
saying those- I'm
flat-footedness.
not saying these two specifically as they were flat-footed at all. I'm
Then-
just saying in
then-
general, you are going to get just like a human. It's a physical response, just like Jake's saying. If the situation is real versus not real, there's going to be an amplification. There's going to be an uptick.
Most of these dogs are not flat-footed.
I'm not saying that they're flat-footed. I'm saying it doesn't make it that they're going to be more amplified. The conditioning, you're hitting up conditions. It would be the same thing if you agitate the dog. Yes, it's going to get the dog more like, okay, I have a laser focus a little bit more versus just throwing them into the hallway, and then they have to figure it out, and then yeah, we're in a different world. That's all the point is. The point is not, oh, the dog is going to know exactly what to do because of equipment, because of gear or anything like that. It's not saying the dog's going to be more proficient. It's just saying that the dog, it does have an understanding. It doesn't know exactly. It's just like a human. You don't know exactly what's going to happen in the situation, but you know something is going on. It's not a laser focus. It's at least like, hey, okay, I'm in it, but I don't know exactly what's going on. That's all. Correct?
Yes, I'm just saying that it's a cue for him that something is getting ready to happen. Versus
Close.
just walking in here
Wearing kit.
without.
You're saying, or wearing a specific harness, you're saying, sirens, you're saying, understood,
Then
it's an expectation
yeah.
of something.
That he knows that if by wearing the kit, by hearing the sirens or whatever
Hearing
the
the announcement.
he's going to feel the energy that he felt with that stuff on versus
Yeah.
no energy of just walking in here with just regular clothes.
Okay. That is the ego trying to understand what it is that I'm saying.
I'm just saying it's a cue. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but the thing is that you can't reenact something that is real, meaning what? Real feeling,
Right.
which is you can't interact. Other than that, that's what practicing is. That's what training is. You're practicing something.
But you'll never get there in training.
It'll never be real.
Yeah.
But you can wear clothes, do all these things, yes, to cue the dog, to teach the dog the specific task. But we're way past that. And what I'm saying, that is a problem that people attach to that and continue to do that. When what needs to happen, because the cues need to go where? Out of the trash can.
Right.
Which is what? All the things that you described.
Right.
And the way that I interpreted what you're saying is that it is needed, hold on, and to help the dog understand its job.
I'm not saying it's needed.
Then what are you saying?
I'm just saying
In very
it may be a help if the dog.
Okay, needed.
If
I'm
the-
sorry to
if-
say needed, but
if-
if
if
it's
it-
flat-footed, listen. If
Yeah.
it's flat-footed, then potentially most of the time it's needed. If the dog is flat-footed.
Yeah, it's the same
Okay.
thing. It's the same thing if you transfer from dog to human. It's like, well, I know I'm supposed to do something, but like you talked about the loop. It's like I know I'm supposed to be doing something, but I don't know exactly what. It's like I have the energy's there. It's not so using the term flat-footed wasn't the best. It's just
No,
the
it's not.
energy's there. Yes, sometimes my terms aren't off, but I get it. The flat-footed it wasn't there. It was just I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I know I'm trying to employ myself, but again,
Okay, now that reasoning, hold on.
Yeah.
Now that reasoning comes from meaning that action in the canine is coming from, we're getting to the, how is it that we can solve this problem? You take away what? Because here's the trash can of what you just said, what we just talked about, the loop. This is the trash can. Now we're taking the cues out. There's so many cues in this situation. Action is what?
Control.
Which is what?
Needs to go out of the trash.
Ah, there it is. And so I'm even saying the action of just sitting here. When typically, when you go to work, or when we do these things, we're always doing something. Well, I'm pieing my corners. I'm giving action. What is that? It's cue. It's breaking up, in this dog sense, a loop. It's breaking the loop. It's you giving action. It's you pushing forward. It's, well, what about this? What if when the dog alerts on the door, that ignites you to put in what? Action to go open the door for the dog. Now it's a great relationship. It's a great bond. The dog is not avoiding you. You're up there in it. But what are you creating by going what? Going up to the door and opening the door. What are you creating?
Cue.
Of this. So are we trying to do this, which is this to me, and are we trying to take control out? Yeah. So is that a good idea where I'm at right now? No. Would it be good for a response for this to take out of the trash can part of the cue? Would it be good to take the handler out and just have the dog there by himself?
We could always try it.
No, we could always try anything, absolutely. But just look at it from where we're at now.
I mean,
Okay.
to do what in a training scenario, yeah. Let's just see, because I mean, it's gonna let us know if.
Hold on, stick to the map. Let's just stick to the map. Hold on. I'm not trying to provoke a conversation on, hey, let's try that. Because, you know, you're right. That's typically what happens. Well, let's just try this. Let's just try this. But just stay with me a little bit. Stick to the map. Even if this even looks like a map. To me, it's a map.
Starting to hurt.
It's good. Okay? So if I take you out,
Yeah.
take the handler out, put the handler in here, and you can watch what's going on, what would you think? Would that be part of something? What would you think about that?
I think that's action that would break the loop
By how?
by not giving him something. I think that breaks that the handler keeps the loop connected. You take the handler out of it, it breaks the loop, and now he has the chance to either stay in the loop and just jump that spot, or he can go to that spot and now come out of it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, perfect. Once again, it's like that terminology, let's just try it. Hold on a minute. We've got to have a somewhat of a look of why it is that we're doing it.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, let's try. Sometimes that's good. I'm not saying that that's bad, but I'm just trying to say it's like, okay, that makes complete sense.
Yeah,
Right?
It's a gate. It opens the gate to let him either come out of it or.
No, I wouldn't even call it a gate. Hold up. I wouldn't call it a gate.
What would you call it?
A choice. The gate, there is no gate. The gate's open. You're breaking the loop. The dog has a choice.
Right, but I mean, the
Right.
handler is the gate. The handler keeps the gate close to the loop.
Well, everything is through the handler.
Right.
Everything is through the, hold on. And
Okay, I'll
no, you're
say-
saying right, as in like, hold on a minute. Everything, how you interpret everything is through you.
Right.
And if you don't know what the opposite of this is, if it's not discovered, and if you don't know, meaning being, if we don't know what this is, then you don't understand what it is that I'm saying. Shit. Okay, and I'm not trying to get you to understand at this point, but just stop it. Right, yeah, right. Like, hold on a minute. No. We're getting to that conversating point where it's like, yeah, I got it. But just,
Oh shit.
All right, anyway,
Okay.
My head's
you're breaking the loop. If you want to say put a gate there, we can say put a gate there, okay? If you want to say it that way.
I'm
But to
saying
me,
the
when you
handler's
put
the
a gate something, it's still connected.
Right, but that's just the handler is the gate. You take the handler out, and now the gate. There's no gate anymore.
Correct.
He has the ability to stay in the loop if he wants, or he has the ability to come out. That's what I'm saying. That the handler is the gate, and you take the handler out of it, you open the gate pretty much, and there's no longer a gate there. That's what I was trying to.
Pretty much.
What do you mean?
Don't leave it out. Pretty much. Why'd you say pretty much?
I don't remember saying pretty much. What did I say?
Okay. All right. You said pretty much. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what I said to just say pretty much. So open the gate pretty much, and there's no longer a gate there. You're gonna. My head is
Okay.
freaking killing me
If
right
you're
now.
not there, meaning if you're not there at the doorway, which now we're at agreement with, fair enough, that could break this action and break that loop.
Yes.
Absolutely. It'd be one of those things that I would be like, hey, let's give it a shot, right?
Let's do it.
Yeah. What is another cue in this realm? In this, put this loop back in. What's another cue?
Standing at the threshold of a door and releasing them with a command.
Yeah. Yeah, but we've kind of already worked that piece. That's, you guys standing at this door and not moving is a form of action. Okay? Now, if we take you away from this and put you over here, there's no more action here. Okay? So that's taking action control out of the trash can. Okay, so what you just said, it's in the mirror of what it is that we just talked about. Okay? Do we have another one? Thinking of environment. Yes, we could open the door, right? And create the dog to manipulate the environment, which is also breaks the cycle, breaks the loop. We're not going to do that. We're going to we want the dog in this cycle. Okay? What else about the environment? That is a cue.
The entire hallway is a cue. The seams are a cue. Where the decoy is a cue. Where the odor is coming from is a cue.
Being here is a cue.
Light
It's a
versus
side
no
picture.
light.
Huh?
Light versus no light.
Light versus no light. Because the no light, even if you were standing here, did the dogs recover? They did. We turned the light on, did the dogs recover? They did, but we had to take something off. Right? And you could turn around and say, well, what's happening there? That's a whole nother kind of conversation where it says, well, how much does a muzzle play into things? But I'm going to say that if the dog's not used to being in the muzzle, constantly working in the muzzle, meaning making the choice to be done with the suit and not going back and forth with muzzle to suit, and then as the dog gets old enough, then the dog's like, you know what, I don't want him in the muzzle. I want to work in this, and I'm going to be sloppy and doing this because I'm just being, I want to be comfortable. So that muzzle, in particular cases, can be part of this trash can. It can be. But here's my opinion on it. If you take whatever it is that you take out of the trash can, remember how deep we are. We're not in this reality. Whatever it is that you take out of the trash can, you got to take it out. You got to commit to it. So if you take the muzzle out of the trash can, either you do civil or you do suit for the rest of the time.
The rest of the time, meaning the dog's working career.
Correct. You commit to one or the other. You commit to desire. Commit to desired base suit, which is person, places, things, and that's it. If you keep the muzzle in, you keep the muzzle in. So what I would do, in some cases, not necessarily you guys, Jake, we've had this conversation. The suit would be out of the trash can. and the suit comes out, and it's over, it's done. Does your dog know how to bite? Yep. Well, then why do you have a suit? Well, okay, now we're talking about beliefs, we're talking about this, we're talking about that, we're talking about what? Words, which is what? This. That's what suit is, it's control. All right. Okay. So taking the suit out, what I'm saying is take the muzzle out. And then decoy. Anything? What's a cue from the decoy? We talked about breath, so there's gonna be no breath, we're gonna keep that. But what else?
Agitation.
Agitation is a cue, but we never agitated last time. There was no agitation, there was no set time. Once again, those are all cues, which weren't processed here. So, but like I said, we went the deep, because we didn't do all that nonsense, right? So you guys are talking about stuff that is true, but it doesn't apply here.
Well, you still have light and scent. I'm
Scent?
blocking them. Yeah, there's still scent coming.
No, I'm asking. Why'd you say scent?
There's still scent coming from me as the decoy.
Yeah.
It's still a cue. It's not. I mean, yeah, it's not as strong as if I'm blowing air, but.
Right. Okay.
And the light that I'm blocking, so it is different if they're being visual.
Yeah. You guys know what he's saying when the visual portion of it?
Yeah, like
So when the light's on?
yeah, if he's like offset 3 feet, there's not going to be a shadow. If he's up against the door, there's going to be shadow.
Yep.
So they could choose to be visual instead of using their nose.
Right. Or the visual confirms them taking their time utilizing their nose. Right? So that's why the environmental things are very important. Light versus dark. Dark does what? Dark helps. To a certain point. Light helps to a certain point, but in this particular case, the darkness in the hallway helped the dog utilizing the senses a little bit more and commit to the smell. Right? So having the light on, light on, no decoy, or I'm sorry, no handler. No handler at door. Decoy, I will say more in the center of the door, as opposed to one end or the other. Okay? All right. Okay, let's play a what if game. This real quick, even though I don't like playing that. What if the dog comes out of the hallway and comes in here and goes, where are you at? What are you doing? Because you have to get your dog, release the dog, am I right? We have to, or do we not have to? Where is it that you come in here, you just let the dog go? In here? From here? Or do you go to the hallway and do we shut the door? Do we shut the door to create an official loop? Or do we keep the door open to allow that dog to make the choice to come out to make a for sure action that the dog doesn't understand the situation because you're not there?
I think we start here, let the dog go, let him see if he makes the correct choice to go in there and stay in there. Because at that point, I think that will give us I don't know. I think it will. I think it'll give us a.
Is it doing it the same as creating a bigger area search pattern? Meaning, if you release them from here, now you added a hallway, you added options. So in turn, yes, you do disappear literally, but when you go and do a building search and you release your dog, do you disappear?
Depends on how far it goes.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. Well, that depends. Everything depends. When we're in this world, everything depends on this. Understood. But I'm just trying to say is we've got to stick to this site picture to where we had some whatever. Okay.
I think you got to decide if you want a bigger loop or a smaller loop. If you want to do a smaller loop, then yeah, take him to the door, send him down there and close the hallway and come back here. If you want to say, I think that if you put the handler in here and release the dog, I think you're going to get a better take on whether it's the handler closing the loop or if there's a loop that the dog just has. By giving him a choice to go down there, or is he going to come back to this door where he was released? Or if he can't smell the handler or whatever, what does he do? Does he just say, okay, well, cool, I'm just here now, I don't have to work, versus shutting him in the hallway there and not giving him a choice? I think you're going to get a better view of whether the handler is actually closing the loop or if the loop was there because there's something else.
Okay. So I'm tracking with what it is that you're saying, but I'm not going to jive on too much. But let's go. I'll just answer it in the sense of how I want to see it. I want to maintain this. We can't move away from this. We can't extend the search. This is the form of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, we can't extend it. We can't. I use the word can't. That's not a good term. But let's keep it to the form of the search of this.
Okay.
Okay. So that means you come in here, you release the dog. When the dog comes down here and work, and when the dog is released, you suck it back into here. We shut this door. Nobody is here.
So you don't close him into that hallway?
No.
So you release him at the hallway?
You release him at the hallway.
Okay.
Okay. Now the dog comes out. Or does this thing? Does the dog stay here? What does the dog do? I don't know. I don't want to tell you. But listen. But if the dog does come out and do these things, you let him recover, and then you see what happens.
Right.
Okay. Does the dog stay here? Does the dog get distracted? Does the dog get distracted with, right? And it has him open. Yeah. There's that, and then there is. Go to the dog, shut the door, and then now you back away, and then you see what happens.
Right.
But I will say, doing this, this would be plan B.
Yes.
Doing this could provoke the dog wanting to come out. It's opposition reflex. It's like, I don't want you to come out. Dog's like, well, right? Closing the door could be a distraction to go into a whole nother realm of why does a dog want to come out? Because the dog doesn't do the job without you? Or the dog doesn't do the job without action? Uh-oh. The dog doesn't do the job independently? Uh-oh. You kind of see where I'm starting to slide into of what that's problem, not problem, there is no problem. There is no problem. But what is going on? We're going to find out.
Let's go.
Okay. All right. And cut.